let's talk about the Gaza flotilla, because the Handala flotilla, which had the Amazon Labor Union leader Chris Smalls on it, the extrajudicious raiding of a civilian marine vessel and kidnapping of its activists that were on it.
You cannot change your course. The IDF will be forced to take all necessary measures to legal blockade in accordance with international law and prevent your vessel from entering the restricted area.
Israeli Navy, this is a civilian vessel, Handala. Let me give you a lesson in international law. Any blockade that deliberately starves a civilian population is a violation of international law. Therefore, we demand that you stand down. You are responsible for the well-being of every civilian on board this vessel. As an occupying power in Gaza, you are responsible for the health and well-being of the civilian population there. Not only have you disregarded that obligation, but you are actively exterminating the people. We demand again that you stand down.
Fuck yeah, lady. Fuck yeah. There's also this. Chris Smalls posted this. When is not real kidnaps us, please follow Gaza Freedom Flotilla and my @Labor Party USA Instagram account for updates on my status until I am released from prison. I will not sign any paperwork, and I will remain as long as possible on a hunger strike. If Gaza cannot eat, neither will I. Respect, dude. Respect. They got them around 5 p.m. Central time yesterday. I was wondering how long media would take to catch up. Al Jazeera Live was, covering it immediately. Here, let's take a look. So you can see how close they are. This is several miles off the coast of Gaza. Now, it's worth noting that part of the blockade on Gaza is a sea blockade, which they have no authority to enforce. They have no authority to enforce a sea blockade and have enclosed that blockade to essentially the coastline. Gazans can't go out to sea and fish. We should send 100 ships next time. There has to be a coalition of the willing. If the world gave a fuck about Gaza, there would be a Dunkirk-style fishing boat, like armada, going towards Israel right now. Here's where they first breach. When is this video from? Yesterday? Yeah, around 5 p.m. Central Time yesterday. I heard this new media channel that came into the field recently and did a great live coverage. Minute by minute yesterday. I think it was called RKB or something. RKB. What is that? RKB. What could that stand for? Whatever happened to the undersea oil fields off the coast of Gaza? Who is operating them now? Well, those offshore oil reserves are not tapped right now. One of the reasons this is happening, the entire genocide, is because Israel and the US want access to those reserves. Yeah, so that was the live feed before it was cut off. Zateo has this: the humanitarians and journalists on the ship sought to deliver aid to Gaza after 2 other recent efforts had been stopped by Israeli attacks. And also, there was poisonings, or an attempted poisoning by Mossad of the ships before they even left port. This genocide will never end until we start normalizing Palestinian resistance. Straight up, like, there should be no apology. There should be no apology ever for any action taken to try and liberate Gaza. I don't make any apology for it. I don't try and, cast it aside. Like, any measure that someone takes, I'm for it. There will be a time to contextualize, there will be a time to measure the effectiveness of certain actions, but I don't do that right now. Those kinds of analysis are for after the liberation, after there's reconciliation, after there's reparations, and after there's justice. Now and until then is not the time. Chris was already ready to take on the entire IDF by himself before being captured. I'm worried about them all. Yeah, this is just the same video we just saw. Israeli forces intercepted the Gaza aid flotilla ship, the Handala, minutes before midnight local time on Saturday, and took the 20 passengers on board captive, according to the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. Now, you'll remember when the first Freedom Flotilla was captured, Greta Thunberg was held longer than others and was... she reported that they were forced to watch October 7th videos. They were forced to watch them and, demanded that they sign paperwork saying that they won't enter Israel again and they're not going to do this and blah, 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 blah. She didn't sign any of that shit. Now, here is a ally of the US, supposedly an ally, that has taken multiple Americans hostage. Normally, this would cause a international crisis. There would be calls for the sanctions. There would be hostage negotiations going on. There would be arrests of officials of that state in the U.S., or at least told to go into lockdown in their embassy and not enter U.S. soil, because technically an embassy is that country's soil, and told you cannot enter the U.S. You stay in your fucking embassy until we tell you otherwise. Just release the hostages is something that we're told regularly. How about you release your fucking hostages? You have 7,000 Palestinian hostages in your concentration camps throughout the Palestinian territories that are being occupied by the fictitious state of Israel, the illegal state of Israel. How about you release your fucking hostages? Notice too, the Hasbara happening immediately. Bring it on their own cameras to do their own Hasbara. Not only to do that, but also to record all of their faces. They're gonna process them regardless. They're gonna take all their names and fingerprints and biometrics and all that shit. But the integration of Israeli propaganda in any of their operations cannot be understated.
So what these activists were hoping to do was break the siege and deliver baby formula, food, water, and other sort of supplies that the people of Gaza simply do not have. And
it wouldn't be enough too. It's a tiny little boat. It wouldn't be enough. It's crumbs, and they won't even allow that, because the primary reason is not just because they don't want any aid getting into Gaza, but also it would be a symbol of resistance, of effective resistance, if it were allowed to happen. New York Times now is even reporting that Israel is incorrect. They're just lying when they say that Hamas is stealing aid. Then it would be a sign to people that this can happen. Aid can get in.